Welcome back to the Furality Sylva DJ interview series. I'm Stitcharoo. I have Ada here, and we're gonna do the deep dive. So Ada, tell us about what your hardware software setup's like.
It's nothing too glamorous. I use a Pioneer DDJ 400 with the record box. And I use Tidal for all my music, and then I tend to just record literally anything with OBS. Yeah, not the most glamorous in the world, but it gets the job done. So
Nice. How do you like Tidal? That's a subscription-based music library, correct?
yeah, that's the one. Unfortunately, I wish it was free, but you know,
C'est la vie.
talk about that later.
For sure. But how do you find Tidal for your music selection and variety? Do you like it? Do you think it could be better?
It tends to be really good, to be fair. I mean, obviously, like, metal tends to be a bit more of a niche genre anyway, and then I end up diving deep into little holes of it that you wouldn't know existed, and it's like, I don't think I've ever struggled to find anything on there, and I've been using it literally like since I started. So yeah, for me at least, it's been really good to use.
So let's move a little bit on here to what was your inspiration to start spinning?
My inspiration probably started back at Luma. You know, I'd never been to, like, I didn't know clubs in VR even existed. I've never been to one before. And that, especially coming out the back of COVID and, you know, not seeing live music for ages, because I fucking love going to live music and metal shows and stuff like that. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I loved the vibe of it, and I mean, yeah, I never thought I'd actually be able to get up on a stage. But then about probably half a year later, just a bit after Legends, one of my mates started doing DJing on VR. Raccoon played Aqua, I think.
Yeah.
He's been one of my friends since the start of VR chat, and you know, he sort of started doing it and doing bits and bobs there and there. I was like, that looks so fun. And you know, the vibe of the room every time is great, and everyone always seems so happy. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I'll be able to, but I want to try that. So you know, I got myself a controller and played around with it, and ended up playing events. And apparently, I'm here now. I don't know how, but here we are.
So I know you mentioned Raccoon. Do you have any other mentors or just friends you want to shout out?
I mean, not tons. I want to say one shout I'll definitely give is Moon. He's, I'd say, decently new into the sort of VR DJing scene, but out of absolutely nowhere he's come through. He is very good at what he does, and I don't know how. Aside from that, honestly, I just have huge respect for anyone what can stick themselves in front of a cloud. That's a new one. In front of a crowd and play a set, or a cloud, to be fair. Either works.
Mine looks like a puppy.
Like, no. But no, it's like, it's an insane amount of pressure, especially, you know, like when it's pre-recorded like Furality. It's still a lot of pressure because it's Furality, but it's, you know, you never have to look like straight into the eyes of the crowd. You know, when you first start and you're on your first set, and you know, you look out into a crowd, like a room of people that are all about to hear what you've just randomly thrown together with no clue what you're doing. You know, it's a lot of pressure, and it's like, I just have insane respect for anyone who actually managed to do that. It takes balls.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember when I was I did FWA not this past year, but the year before, and there was that moment on the steps onto the physical stage where I'm standing there like, I could just not go on. You know, like, I could just not go up there.
Yeah, I remember that from my first set as well, especially because, like, first sets are almost never good. Like, especially if you're brand new to DJ, you know, you might have fooled around a little bit. It's like your first set that you actually play is never actually going to be that good, and you'll listen back to it and cringe. It's just like, you know, standing off to one side of a stage, knowing that what you're playing probably isn't going to be particularly amazing. It's like, oh god, it's a horrible feeling. I have so much respect for people that can overcome it.
Yeah, you just got to remember the first part of being bad at something is being total garbage at it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, look at me now, I'm still total garbage at it.
Hooray, we're garbage! And lastly, a question that we at the Furality Club scene, what we really hold dear with Club FYNN is reaching out towards like new DJs, reaching out to like the upstarts and up and comers. Do you have any advice for or tips and tricks for someone who's looking to start DJing?
As far as tips and tricks go, there's probably not that many. It takes a lot to like, get to know what you're doing and to get to like, I guess, a certain skill level. But I think the biggest advice I can give is just try. Like, if you keep trying, if you go in with a mindset to learn, and if you keep trying and trying and trying, even when you get knocked back for the first few times, you'll go far. Like, the first few sets are always going to be the toughest to get. You can keep applying and applying for different clubs, different events and whatever. When you first start, and keep applying with different mixes, your first ones probably won't be up to scratch, especially if it's like the first thing you've ever done with DJing. As cliche as it sounds, just the biggest advice I can give is don't give up, keep pushing on, keep learning. Take any criticism people give from clubs, staffers, or even like, people just in the crowd listening. Take everything they say on board with a like constructive mindset and try and keep improving. Because if you do that, you will go fucking far. Like, there is so much, talent in this scene, and it's like, it's not that impossible to reach if you just keep pushing with it. I think the toughest, like the worst thing you can do is either to give up at the first hurdle when you first get turned down, or to like sink yourself into a little sort of rhythm where you're comfortable, and when you keep like pushing out the same repeated thing over and over without ever developing. Like with most things, you should be constantly learning, and you should constantly be changing things up and trying new bits and bobs, and that's what tends to get you places.
Awesome. Super, super good answers. Thank you so much, Ada, for coming to meet with me for the interview series. Eee. And yeah, thank you. And thank you all for watching the DJ interview series. Have a good one and enjoy Furality Sylva. Bye.